So we're continuing on with our series in Rome. It's called We Are Rome. This week we're doing Romans 12, verses 1 to 13, and we're inviting you guys to text in some questions along the way. Just thoughts on the sermon or questions so you can dig a little deeper midweek. And we had some really good questions this week. The first one is, how do we look different? We kind of shot in here. We thought it'd be very cool because obviously we worship in here, and the idea is we want to take our heart for God here. We want to live here and out there. So how do we look different, Seth, as you kind of look at life and look at worship? How do we look different out there?
I was thinking, you could put on some crazy wigs, and that's always a fun way to look
like
different.
Spray paint a cross into your hair? Definitely.
Yeah, just like etch some things into your beard.
For sure,
Really, no. There may be a place for that in certain cultures, but ours might get some funny looks. But I guess we're talking about lifestyle, right? And choices you make. And there are things my family has done, but it's made me start thinking about things that I know other people have done too. And I'm just going to do a smattering of things that kind of came to mind when you asked me about it. And a friend of mine they bought a bigger house so that they could have people over.
Yeah.
In my life, my wife and I have tried to minimize and less and smaller, and that's kind of the direction we've gone for certain reasons of simplicity. But they bought a bigger house for the reason that they have neighbors over. They host Bible studies. They're constantly trying to get their street to come over and be involved and just build community and relationships. And it's one way that people can say, why do you do this?
Yeah.
Why are you always inviting all these people over to your house? Why are you so busy? An immediate opportunity for them to say, because we love people like Jesus. We want to know them and be known.
One of the things going off that, it's just how are you investing? There's a whole lot of ways we could take this question. But when you invest things, are you investing eternally? And so maybe investing eternally means buying a bigger house that you can have people over and you can share community. Maybe that means you don't buy this because that's not an eternal investment. And that's not something that, it'll be a passing, fun, enjoyment thing. But is that going to be, and so maybe that does mean buying things. Or maybe that means I'm not going to buy something. But as we look at our time way beyond money, but at your time, at your energy, at your emotions, are you investing in things that will pay off eternal?
I love that where you were going because it made me think of intentionality as well. And so a big house or a small house, you could spin either way as being, what should I say, living a life that demands explanation. And people want to know why so you can speak the gospel into their lives. And so when you do it with intentionality for a purpose, that the gospel would be preached, that you're living differently so that the question could be posed, that's where we're going, right? So I know other friends that have made an intentional choice in their workplace not to gossip. And so when that's happening, they'll excuse themselves.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because people will say, well, what do you know? Or what do you want to talk about? Or that'll start coming up. And it's not a normal human thing.
Oh, it's weird when it happens. Like it's when someone makes that statement, like it's very noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. And they verbally say they don't want to talk about it, or they'll excuse themselves. And maybe you just wonder, or you catch up with them later, or what? You just walked away, man. Yeah. And
it's not that you go and be like, how dare you go and gossip? It's just that you step out and that you make a nonverbal statement there saying, and this isn't what I value, which goes back to investing. You're not going to invest in something that doesn't have eternal, not something that's frivolous, something that's like gossip that's not going to give you any return spiritually.
Right. And I think when you set those boundaries to live different, instead of saying you do this and you live like this and you shouldn't, and calling that out, by just saying I choose this, or I am living this way, if people feel convicted, that's God working.
Yeah.
That's God leading the conversation. That's giving room for the Holy Spirit to work. But all you're doing is stating where you are, and that opens up opportunity.
Yeah.
Without condemning them directly, because you're not.
Yeah.
You're letting the Spirit lead that, because that's a choice that you're making to live differently for Christ in the world.
Well, awesome. Thank you. Great questions. Tune in later this week, and we'll have some more videos for you.